With over 100 years of heritage, Jaguar is one of the most iconic sports car brands in the world. For decades, they've been vaunted for their high performance, sleek designs, and motorsport accomplishments. But no brand, no matter how iconic, is guaranteed to stay relevant forever. Jaguar sales peaked in 2019 at 180,000 units. By 2024, their global deliveries had fallen by almost two-thirds to just 67,000. The once mighty brand appeared to be on a path to irrelevance. In 2024, the company made a shocking announcement. Jaguar ended production of all of its existing models. They would relaunch the brand with all new electric vehicles starting in 2026. In November of 2024, they kicked off their rebranding with what might just be the single most bizarre commercial in the history of automobiles. The commercial featured a number of models dressed in strange, flamboyant colors, and somewhat counterintuitively, no car was shown. The purpose of this commercial is to show that the new Jaguar is willing to take risks and will make cars unlike anything the world has ever seen before. In December of 2024, they unveiled their Type 00 fully electric concept car. With its smooth, blocky shape, it would look more at home in a Roblox game than on city streets. In this video, we'll analyze the rise and fall of Jaguar. Then we'll try to make sense of its bizarre rebranding. This video is brought to you by Differentiated Analytics, a website we created which provides premium short-selling research among other things. We identify companies we believe to be fraudulent or overvalued and write professional-grade research reports explaining the bear case in great detail. We also have a public short report aggregator. Here we follow a handful of activist short sellers who we hold in high regard. Every time they release a new short report, we write a summary, allowing you to quickly gain an understanding of the key points. Finally, we have a merger arbitrage table, which tracks all active mergers and acquisitions of companies listed on major US exchanges. All of this is available with a premium subscription to Differentiated Analytics. And for a limited time, you can lock in 50% off by using the promo code WSM50 at the checkout page. So if you're interested in short selling, make sure to go to differentiatedanalytics.com to sign up today. The link is in the description below. And now back to the video. Jaguar can trace its roots all the way back to 1922, when the English mechanic and motorcycle enthusiast William Lyons founded the Swallow Sidecar Company. The Swallow Sidecar Company made a sidecar which could be attached to a motorcycle to carry an extra passenger. In 1934, the Swallow Sidecar Company merged with another British automobile company called the Standard Motor Company. The combined entity was named SS Cars. The SS stood for Swallow and Standard. In 1935, they released a two-seater car called the SS Jaguar. In the 1930s, a certain paramilitary organization in Germany was being formed that coincidentally bore the same initials. To avoid confusion, the company changed its name from SS Cars to Jaguar Cars Limited. In the post-war years, Jaguar made a name for itself by producing flashy-looking sports cars that sold for relatively affordable prices compared to other sports cars at the time. Jaguar's international profile increased greatly in 1951, when one of their cars won the 24-hour Le Mans endurance race in France. By the 1960s, the automobile market had grown tremendously. The importance of economies of scale became obvious. As an independent company, Jaguar found it increasingly difficult to compete with some of its much larger American and European competitors. In 1965, Jaguar agreed to be acquired by the British Motor Corporation. 3 years later, the British Motor Corporation was itself acquired by the Leyland Motor Corporation. The combined entity was called the British Leyland Motor Corporation. This was the largest automobile company in Britain, owning numerous brands including Austin, MG, Mini, Land Rover, and of course Jaguar, among many others. It was a massive conglomerate that was unwieldy and difficult to manage. The company soon began operating at a loss. By the 1980s, it was facing severe financial difficulties. In 1984, Leyland spun off Jaguar as an independent company, which listed its shares on the London Stock Exchange. Now Jaguar was back where it started, a subscale sports car maker competing in an industry increasingly dominated by giant conglomerates. In the 1980s, Jaguar was only making about 50,000 cars per year. In 1989, Jaguar agreed to be acquired by Ford for $2.4 billion. Ford believed that with its much larger R&D and manufacturing resources, it could improve the quality of Jaguar cars and produce them in much larger quantities. While Ford invested billions of dollars into the Jaguar brand, it ended up being a flop. In an effort to improve manufacturing efficiency, they created new Jaguar models that shared the same platforms as existing Ford and Lincoln cars. Most of the Jaguar cars made under Ford's ownership were just Lincoln cars with a Jaguar logo slapped on. They lacked the distinctive look and feel of the Jaguars of the past. Consumers were not fooled, and sales disappointed. In 2008, Ford agreed to sell Jaguar to the Indian conglomerate Tata. As part of the same deal, they also sold Land Rover, which they had acquired in 2000. Both Jaguar and Land Rover had operated at significant losses during Ford's ownership. Tata was and still is one of the largest business conglomerates in India. They have dozens of subsidiaries which operate across industries, from steel making to information technology. They own an automobile subsidiary called Tata Motors. Tata Motors is best known for making inexpensive cars for the domestic Indian market. For example, in the early 2010s, they launched the Tata Nano. With a list price of just $2,500, it was the cheapest production car available anywhere in the world. Tata's decision to acquire Jaguar and Land Rover was a bit unexpected. Both brands have much higher price points than the cars Tata makes. The luxury car market in India was very small. So what was the plan? Tata merged Jaguar and Land Rover into one holding company called Jaguar Land Rover, or JLR. JLR is a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Motors, but it has been allowed to operate with a large degree of autonomy. They wanted both brands to maintain their uniquely British heritage. They didn't want to make the same mistake as Ford, who made the cars too similar to Lincoln's. They maintained JLR's headquarters in England, and most of their cars were assembled in the UK. While Tata Motors took a relatively hands-off approach to managing JLR, there was some room for synergies. For example, the Tata Group has substantial engineering and technology consulting operations, which are able to provide some services to JLR. Despite the fact that Jaguar and Land Rover are now owned by an Indian company, sales in India have never been very significant for these brands. The luxury car market in India remains very small. JLR's most important markets are the UK, US, Europe, and China. For most of its history, Jaguar exclusively made sports cars and luxury sedans. The market for luxury sedans has been on the decline in the all-important North American market, as consumers increasingly prefer SUVs. In 2016, Jaguar released the F-Pace, which was the first SUV the brand had ever made. It was a premium SUV with a starting MSRP of $47,000. That doesn't sound that expensive by today's standards, but there's been a lot of inflation over the past 9 years. Back in 2016, this was a very expensive car. It was significantly more expensive than some of its luxury European rivals. For example, at the time, the Audi Q5 started at $41,000. The BMW X3 had a starting price of just $38,000. But thanks to its high-performance engine, luxurious interior, and exotic British brand, the car was a huge commercial success in the United States. In the mid-2010s, Jaguar also saw strong sales growth in China. At the time, the Chinese economy was booming, and European luxury brands were in the ascendant. Most of the Jaguar and Land Rover cars sold in China are assembled domestically by a joint venture with a Chinese automobile company called Chery. This helped to avoid import duties and keep costs down. Jaguar's popularity peaked in 2018. In JLR's fiscal 2019, which is the 12 months ended March 31st, 2019, Jaguar sold 180,000 cars worldwide. But this success would prove short-lived. Jaguar cars have always struggled with reliability, frequently requiring mechanical attention. Due to their notoriously poor reliability, they depreciate very quickly after purchase. According to CarEdge, Jaguars are one of the worst luxury cars in the US for resale value. The average 5-year-old Jaguar sells for just 46% of its original purchase price. This puts them just slightly above Land Rover, which is of course owned by the same parent company. The worst luxury brand is Tesla. After 5 years, the average Tesla only sells for 45% of its original price. The poor resale values of Teslas may be the result of Tesla owners dumping their cars as they no longer want to be associated with Elon Musk. Jaguars have never been known for their reliability or resale value. Back when they focused primarily on sports cars, this wasn't so much of a problem. Automobile enthusiasts were willing to put up with the depreciation and costly maintenance because they loved driving the car. SUVs cater to a wider segment of consumers, who tend to be more concerned with practical considerations and value for money. As the reliability issues became apparent, Jaguar's SUV sales declined. There's also the issue of the transition to electric vehicles. By the late 2010s, Tesla sales were surging. It was becoming clear that EVs are the future, and every automaker would eventually need to electrify their fleets. In 2016, Jaguar unveiled its I-Pace fully electric SUV, which began deliveries in 2018. In the United States, the I-Pace started at $70,000. That made it about $10,000 cheaper than the Tesla Model X, which was its main competitor at the time. The I-Pace is smaller than the Model X and has significantly less horsepower. The I-Pace quickly drew critical acclaim. In 2019, the World Car Awards Association voted the I-Pace to be the best car of the year, not just the best EV, but the best car in general. In another vote of confidence, Google-owned Waymo decided to use the I-Pace to make its autonomous taxis. Waymo ordered a total of 20,000 I-Paces for a total consideration of approximately $1 billion. While the I-Pace was critically acclaimed at first, Jaguar's lack of experience building EVs would soon become apparent. Between 2018 and 2023, 8 Jaguar I-Paces spontaneously burst into flames in the US alone. Some of them combusted while they were charging, while others combusted while they were parked. The fires were caused by issues with the battery pack. Jaguar had to recall the cars multiple times in an attempt to fix the issue. In 2019, they pushed out a software update which prevents the I-Pace from charging above 80%. Combustion is more likely when the battery is fully charged. The inability to fully charge the battery greatly limited the appeal of owning an I-Pace, especially seeing as its 246-mile range wasn't all that great to begin with. Even worse, this didn't even solve the problem. I-Paces continue to catch fire. EV fires are notoriously difficult to extinguish, often requiring tens of thousands of gallons of water. In November of 2024, the brand was forced to buy back almost 3,000 2018 I-Paces due to continued safety concerns. Jaguar told another 34 I-Pace owners not to park their cars inside garages or near structures due to the continued fire risks. That certainly doesn't inspire confidence. Despite winning the Car of the Year award, the I-Pace is perhaps the most disastrous car in Jaguar's history. It greatly tarnished the brand's reputation and raises doubts about their ability to make EVs. In the early 2020s, a number of new fully electric compact SUVs and crossovers came to market. For example, the Tesla Model Y was launched in 2020. It carried a significantly lower price tag compared to the I-Pace, and was superior on many performance characteristics. In fiscal 2020, Jaguar sales started to decline. I-Pace sales imploded, as well as their aging lineup of internal combustion engine models. In fiscal 2024, Jaguar sold just 67,000 units worldwide. This is a decrease of almost 2/3 compared to their peak in fiscal 2019. By comparison, Land Rover is doing much better, having sold 365,000 units in 2024. Jaguar Land Rover's revenue declined every year from 2019 through 2022. They also posted a pre-tax loss in every one of those years. In 2024, their sales rebounded to an all-time high of £29 billion. They also made a pre-tax profit of £2 billion. This recovery can almost entirely be attributed to the Land Rover segment, which has benefited from strong sales growth and price increases in recent years. The company also benefited from a depreciation of the British pound versus the US dollar. While much of their revenue is generated in US dollars, their earnings reports are denominated in pound sterling. The Jaguar brand itself was in deep trouble. Its poor performance had become an embarrassing drag on the overall company. JLR's senior management decided that radical action was needed to right the ship. In 2024, Jaguar announced that it will be ceasing production of all the cars it currently makes. The company will shift its entire focus to developing new EVs that will use a new electric architecture completely different from the I-Pace. As part of this transition, they also did a complete rebranding. In November of 2024, they unveiled their new brand identity with an advertisement called Copy Nothing. It features a number of models wearing strange clothing. It looks more like an ad for a luxury fashion brand rather than an automaker. In fact, not a single car was shown throughout the entirety of the ad. This caused significant controversy across the internet, as many people were confused or even offended by the bizarre nature of the rebranding. Perhaps Jaguar's marketing team thought that any publicity is good publicity. According to Google Trends, Jaguar saw a significant, albeit short-lived, spike in search volume. In December of 2024, Jaguar finally unveiled its new car. It's an all-electric concept car called the Type 00. They plan to start selling it in 2026. For the avoidance of doubt, the Type 00 is not just a CGI rendering. It is a real car that can drive. They showed it off at Paris Fashion Week in mid-March of 2025. To say that the Type 00 looks unconventional would be an understatement. Its almost cartoonishly smooth surfaces make it look something straight out of a Roblox game. It is very large with a length of approximately 5 meters. It is reported to have a massive battery, giving the car 480 miles of range. For comparison, the longest range version of the Tesla Model 3 can only drive 360 miles on a full charge. It will reportedly cost over £100,000 or $130,000 US when it launches in the second half of 2026. Keep in mind that the actual production car may end up significantly different from the concept car we see now. We'll have to wait and see. At this point, we have so little information about the Type 00 that it's very difficult to predict its commercial performance. If the production version looks anything like the concept car, I fear that it will struggle to find buyers. Insofar as polarizing vehicle designs are concerned, the most analogous car is probably Tesla's Cybertruck. Having begun deliveries in late 2023, the Cybertruck has been a commercial failure. The EV-focused publication Electric estimates that Tesla only sold around 10,000 Cybertrucks in the fourth quarter of 2024. This was a massive disappointment. The company previously planned to ramp up production to 250,000 units per year. There are many reasons for the failure of the Cybertruck. Tesla overpromised and underdelivered. The Cybertruck costs $80,000, which is double the price Musk initially promised back in 2019. Its range of 320 miles is also significantly worse than the 500-mile range initially advertised. It has also been plagued with a number of reliability issues, and its lack of paint makes the Cybertruck extremely prone to rust. With all that being said, the unconventional design of the Cybertruck almost certainly contributed to its lackluster sales. If you drive a Cybertruck down your local street or into a parking lot, it's sure to turn heads. Most people don't enjoy this attention. I fear that the Jaguar Type 00 will suffer a similar fate. While it may succeed in generating media attention, it's doubtful that very many consumers will be willing to drop six figures on such a weird-looking car. Jaguar has a rich heritage and used to make some of the best sports cars in the world, but their poor reliability has consistently prevented them from becoming a top luxury brand. The disastrous safety record of the I-Pace EV dealt a crushing blow to their image. The controversial rebranding is a Hail Mary attempt to save Jaguar from irrelevance. It's a risky gamble from a brand that has nothing to lose. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Jaguar? Let us know in the comments section below. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.